Good morning, everyone. I'm doing a quick video uh, on what is due this week. I apologize if it's noisy. We're having quite a downpour here. So, let me bring you to the course content. Yep. And, okay. So, what work is due this week? Obviously, as we do every week, your post for the discussions. You pick either chapter 6 or chapter 8. Your own post is due on June 26th. Once people have posted, you need to respond to 2 posts. Actually, you respond to 1 post, and then you respond to people who have responded to your post. I'm going to bring you there in just a second. That is due on June 28th. As always, the quiz on chapter 6 is due June 30th. The quiz on chapter 8 is due June 30th. Please remember that you have 2 chances to do the quiz. It might say you have 10 minutes, but I've given everyone 15 minutes to do the quiz. And honestly, with 15 minutes and 2 chances, you should all be getting 9, 10, and 11. That's kind of my gift to students, in part because I am rather strict with the way that I grade the essay. Part 2 of the essay is due on June 30th. So let me start by bringing you to the discussion, and then I'm going to talk about part 2 of the essay. So if we go to discussions, I haven't opened it just yet, but okay, I'm going to as soon as this video is done. So again, we have 2 chapters to choose from, but rather me saying pick anything you want from this chapter, I'm giving you the topic. And you're going to label your discussion chapter 6 or chapter 8 and whatever the, it'll say chapter 6, what is it, major differences in gender, or chapter 8, pseudo-listening, something like that. Okay, so from chapter 6, we're looking at the issue on language. There are 2 big schools of thought that there is a huge or a major difference between the way women speak and the way that men speak. And the textbook provides some information on what some communication scholars think. The other idea is that there are differences, but they are minor differences. And again, they give you some evidence on what communication scholars have found. Afterwards, they say, the authors say, there is a third idea that it's not so much that men and women speak differently, but that there are different influences on gender. So I suppose you do have there are issues other than gender that influence how people speak. So make sure you read that section of chapter 6 most carefully, especially if this is what you're going to do. And in your discussion, you're going to explain what you think. So obviously, what you do, and this is just a good way to set it up, is to, what is your thinking? What does the textbook say about it? So this way, you're not making the person who's reading your post go find it in the textbook. You're giving them possibly a quote, maybe a paraphrase, maybe a 1 or 2 sentence summary of what the authors say. Then you've got to support your ideas. You're giving an example from your own life, an example from people that you know, from a TV show, from a movie, I don't know, a song, maybe, a book, if you're a big reader like I am. Okay, and then I always suggest that a good way, and you can, if you disagree, send me an email and we can discuss this. A good way to end is to say to the person, what do you think about this? Is your experience the same as mine? Have you had other experiences? And I have found that it's easier to begin a discussion if there's a question where you say to the person, I'm giving you an opening. Here's what I want you to talk about. And let's say you read it and there's something you really want to talk about, and that's not the question, first answer the question and then say, but here's something else that I've thought about this topic. All right. Chapter 8's topic is a little bit broader because it's asking you to look at times that you have listened ineffectively. So, it's, why did you listen ineffectively? Was it I don't know? Were you doing pseudo listening? Were you doing insulated listening? Was it selective listening? Okay, and then why do you think this was the case? And then what listening style would have been more effective? Okay, and then you can, again, you ask your classmate for their opinion on something, or just ask a question to get the discussion started. I've got some bulleted points here, and I said 2 things that are really important. When you respond, please use the person's name. It's always great when people use our names, but also when I'm grading it, it's just the grading is set up really weird here. If I see the person's name, it helps me go to the right discussion so I can see the back and forth, so that I don't have to have 3 different screens open. Also, when you look at the discussions and you say, "Oh, I'm going to look at this one," and you already see that there are 2 or 3 or 4 total posts, do not join that discussion. That's like you're butting into the discussion. You're looking for a post that only has 1, which means that's the original post, but no one has yet commented on it. Okay. Whew. Sorry, that was longer than I meant it to be. All right, the next one is for the essay. What you're going to do for this next part of the essay is you're going to tell me what happened in your observation or your experiment, the violation. I need details. So instead of saying, I wore my pajamas to the grocery store and, people gave me crazy looks. Okay. Who? I need numbers. I need descriptions. So you say, when I entered the grocery store, there was an older man, maybe in his 60s, and he gave, and you might say, he gave me a dirty look. What does that look like? His eyebrows were raised, his nose was scrunched up, he was pursing his lips. Okay, so you're really having to describe, okay, how what people did, what the reactions were, and then instead of saying several people, that's not good enough. Details, details, details. I'm thinking of having that tattooed on myself. Details, details, details. Okay, so for both of them, description of the experiment as it unfolded, a description of the observation. Alrighty, and then discussing what happened compared to what you thought would happen. Did people act the way you thought? If yes, why do you think so? If not, why do you think so? Okay. Now what you're doing is you're going to start with what you had in part 1. My plan is to go to Price Chopper on Monday evening and wear my footy pajamas. Okay. So you're going to change it to, for my experiment, I planned, past tense, to go to the supermarket, and I planned to wear something like that. Okay, after you've redone part 1, changing the tense, then you're going to include what you saw. You don't have to do a lot of analysis yet. That's the next step. Okay, so I've asked people to think about their timeline. I get it. I think a lot of you have taken on, thinking a summer class would be easy. A lot of you have taken on maybe more than is humanly possible to manage. You're taking multiple classes. You're working more than one job. I really wish advisors would say to people, it's intense. This is a 15-week course that's been smooshed down to 7 weeks. You have to dedicate quite a lot of time to it. Be that as it may, take a look at your schedule. Take a look at my timeline. If you know that there's going to be a problem, what I want you to do is to tell me what your timeline is. All right. Generally, you submit work. Let's say you say I cannot do Sunday, but I'll get it to you on Tuesday, July 2nd. I'm going to need 48 hours from when you submit it to give you feedback. Okay, so just keep that in your mind when you're planning. Now, if you tell me that you're going to submit it on Tuesday and then you don't submit it on Tuesday, that's a problem. Right? This is basically how my parents raised us. Here are the rules. You want to make a change to the rules? What is it going to be? Okay, if that's what you say it's going to be, that's what it is, or there will be consequences. Okay, I know I'm sounding like a mean mom right now. But, so really think about this carefully. Take a look at other classes you're taking, a vacation that you have planned, your crazy work schedule, parties you're going to attend, whatever's going on, and then come up with a schedule for yourself that you know you can stick to. Okay, I think that's all. And I know I say this all the time. Please, please, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. You can send me a message. Here are our messages in Blackboard. You can send me an email, and as a last resort, you can text me. I would say try to reserve texts for times that you need an immediate answer. Like, let's say you say, but this is so confusing, I really need to meet with you. Send me a text, and we can set up a time to do a WebEx. Okay. I hope if it's raining in Connecticut, I hope you're staying dry and have a good weekend. Maybe I should say have a productive weekend. And I will hopefully hear from you soon.